Going to my mind's going blank now. What's happening? I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm in prison. Where am I? No idea. Last night I was on television.
I was on television.
Television.
I mean a telephone.
Telephone. Rapidly rising. And with I don't know. COVID has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's lives reflected in the N-H-E-I. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him in. We're going to see. Purpose is defend against aggression. Let me make near and dear to you that you
Oh yeah, come on, Joe, bring it back. It's the reboot. Microsoft Blue Screen of Death, and here it is.
My mind's going blank now.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember.
My mind's going blank now.
What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the
hell's going on here?
My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm in prison. Where am I? No idea. I don't think the idea that
concept.
The political coverage of
It's just been so mean tweets.
I want to thank and recognize
Mr. Dr. John and King of Song. Where's my iPad?
I can't remember. Lose track.
My mind's going blank now. What the hell is going on here? Where the hell are we?
I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now.
Oh yeah.
Keep forgetting I'm the president.
Keep forgetting I'm the president. Oh, so sad. My mind's going blank now. Welcome back once again. This is Chris Report, and he assured me that since Simon's down in Boulders, folks, this is Chris Wyatt reporting from South Africa. Hello, team, and welcome back to Chris Wyatt Reports, to the unscheduled broadcast. 42 people currently here. Thanks for showing up. We did have an interview this morning with, why is this so slow? It's supposed to be, that's a good, YouTube. Maybe I didn't set the timing right. But anyway, I'm a little bit ahead of you now because the delay. Let me just see how many seconds it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wow, you're good 30 seconds behind me. Thank you, YouTube. Anyway, so thanks for being here, folks, on a Friday, July 12th, 2024. I was interviewed this morning by Biz News. That's where I'll let the word out now. Biz News interviewed me this morning about U.S.-South Africa relations. That'll appear Sunday on Biz News. And then I did the interview, of course, with Lambert de Klerk from AfriForum on the water situation in South Africa. Now, a brief news broadcast, and say hello to my viewers out there. And your chat is going to be way behind me, folks, so I apologize if I'm slow in answering your questions or you don't respond quickly to me because we're a good 30 seconds behind. I thought I set that, but apparently I didn't in my rush to get the stream going. Nonetheless, thanks for being here on this Friday, the 12th of July. And we're going to cover some news for the USA, South Africa, and a little bit more. And thank you all for being here. In the chat, we've got Ants, Hester Kotza, James Bowie, Emil Therrett, Gus, Dylan Combrick, Polly, the brains behind the operation, Smee again, Pierre Orban, Erica, Clive Streak, Chris Ehlers, Alan Kotze, Cyber Eggs, and Irenier Dutoy. Welcome to everybody. If I missed somebody, my apologies. It was not intentional. Smee again. I think I missed Smee again. Who's here again? Anyway, folks, it's going to be a brief news broadcast. In a little over half an hour, I need to prep for rugby on Rugby Ascendant. I'll be covering the Pumas versus the Lions from Umbumbela Stadium in Nelspruit. All right, in Mpumalanga province. So, Willy, welcome to you. Vili. We'll be covering that. Unfortunately, the game I wanted to cover was this morning, and because of my interview, I was unable to do it. That, of course, was the Griquas versus, who did they play? The Sharks. And once again, Curry Cup, my predictions in Super Brew are trash this year. I figured that the Sharks with 6 additional Springboks would walk all over the Griquas. And in the first half, that was the story, 24-7 in the first half. But in the second half, the Griquas in Kimberley come out of nowhere and win the game with Dobella kicking the ball over for a penalty kick in the second half. We missed this game. Oh, I feel so done over on that one. Anyway, we'll probably watch the Pumas and Lions and be put to sleep by that. Later today on Rugby Ascendant, it will also be USA versus Scotland from Audi Field just south of me in Washington, D.C., the home of DC United soccer team. Beautiful stadium, by the way, right next to U.S. military base there. I mean, literally across the street. Anyway, so let's get to the news. Everyone's going to be behind the chat, so me speaking to you isn't going to work as well as it normally does. But let's start off with the National Prosecuting Authority is threatening legal action after someone leaked information that clearly, unequivocally links Floyd Shivambu and Julius Malema to corrupt theft in the VBS bank scandal, folks. Hey, we all assumed it for a long time, and here's the evidence right there. It is coming. Yeah, the Sharks lost CyberX big time. Big time. So, look, what the heck is that? That's not the right button. Here we go. The National Prosecuting Authority threatens legal action after explosive affidavit implicates Julius Malema and Floyd Shivambu in the VBS scandal. Gangsters! The National Prosecuting Authority slammed the leaking of the affidavit. Purportedly written by former VBS chairperson Shafiwa Matazodi. Economic freedom fighters leader Julius Malema and his deputy Floyd Shivambu are implicated in the looting of the VBS through Sekameka Projects Ltd, a company registered under the name of Shivambu's younger brother, Brian Shivambu. So my question is this: why was the National Prosecuting Authority sitting on an affidavit that clearly implicates Julius Malema and Floyd Shivambu in criminal activity? Why are we finding out? Now, the NPA is upset. Oh, we're going to prosecute the leaker. How about we prosecute the scumbags at the National Prosecuting Authority who've been sitting on this? How long have they been sitting on this affidavit, ladies and gentlemen? We've known about this theft for what, 3-4 years now? Why are they sitting on this at the National Prosecuting Authority? Interesting. Ask yourself that question. National Prosecuting Authority spokesman Tunzi Mahaga said the leaking of the affidavit undermines the administration of justice and places several individuals, including members of the investigation prosecution team, in danger. That may very well be true. But again, I ask the question, why are you sitting on this? Why is this still in the NPA's hands? And why have we not seen criminal charges preferred against Julius Malema and Floyd Shivambu? It is time for the powers that be in white monopoly capital, in the media, in the ANC government to stop shielding Julius Malema from prosecution for his criminal conduct, his accused criminal conduct. What is going on here? Why is the National Prosecuting Authority say, when did the VBS banking scandal break? 4 or 5 years ago? It took them 5 years to get an affidavit for someone. The leaking of confidential documents in high-profile and complex corruption cases like VBS compromised the hard work of investigators and prosecutors. What? The fact that you don't prosecute these criminals undermines the hard work of the investigators and the prosecutors. You're not even prosecuting. Why is Floyd Shivambu, why is Julius Malema shielded from their criminal activity, their accused criminal activity? Why? Why is the government not prosecuting members of the intelligence services, crime intelligence, in the police service, in SAPS, in SANDF, in the intelligence cluster, in the cabinet of Cyril Ramaphosa for the criminal misconduct in the July 2021 insurrection? Why? Ask yourself this. Why do the elite scumbags protect elite scumbags while the people must suffer? Do you know why? Thucydides said it very clearly when he said in the Malian dialogue that the strong will do as they desire and the weak will suffer what they must. That's what's going on here. Wow. The National Prosecuting Authority leadership has instructed the Director of Public Prosecutions to ensure that together with Director of the Hawks, a thorough investigation into leak is conducted. Oh, you'll do a thorough investigation into leak, but you'll sit on an affidavit implicating a member of parliament, 2 members of parliament, in criminal activity, defrauding poor black go-go's of their life savings. Really? The National Prosecuting Authority can't handle the truth. Wow. Unbelievable. Well, ladies and gentlemen, tragic news in South Africa. A little more information coming out on the loss of life of a SANDF officer who died in a bizarre grenade explosion, which is yet to be explained by the South African National Defense Force in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The loss of this family member, this soldier, brings to mind the question once again, why are South African soldiers in the Democratic Republic of Congo? Why are you participating in their civil war 3 decades after it began? Why is the ANC sending South Africans to die in the Congo? Major Johan Christian Pieterse was killed on duty in the DRC. Major J.C. Tola Pieterse was killed when a hand grenade exploded close to his sleeping quarters in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo. He died 2 months away from celebrating his 20th wedding anniversary with his wife, Marie. He's known for his deep commitment to his family, often making personal sacrifices to provide for them. The incident happened on Monday at their base in Beni in the eastern region of the DRC. When a SANDF chaplain, a close family member, arrived at their home in Heidelberg, she immediately knew. I knew from midday that something was wrong because he didn't respond to messages I sent him at 9 a.m. When he didn't respond, I found it strange. It was the first that I knew. It was the visit I knew I didn't want. And when I saw them, I knew. I collapsed at the gate. I'm sorry to share their grief with you folks, but this is to bring home a point. The politicians cost the lives of soldiers needlessly. There's Marie and her daughters, Marla and Bianca. He was acting company commander in the 14th South African Infantry Battalion from Tata at the time of his death. He joined SANDF in 1997. He was parachute battalion and loved it. Also a physical training instructor and completed all his swimming courses. Loved fitness, but also participated in Fitness Soldier, which he won several times. They met in 2000 when Marie had also joined SANDF. She had the same surname as his mother and thought we were family. Secret relationship because it was not allowed. He used to slip out silently to see them, she said. He was known affectionately as Tola. First deployed to the DRC in 2017 when he had to stand in for someone. He taught Congolese kids how to swim. After a short visit home last month, he told his family this would be his last deployment as he wanted to spend more time with the family. But now he's not returning. Marie said she'll remember her husband as a loving, caring, hardworking man who sacrificed for his family. One day we walked in the house. I saw a brand new fridge and dishwasher. She said he sacrificed his water stipend for 3 months to buy it. Wow. There he is. His youngest daughter, Bianca, said she wished she could call her father one last time and tell him she loved him. Smooth winds and fair winds and smooth sailing, Major Pieterse. God bless. 2 more cold fronts hitting Cape Town and the Western Cape Saturday and Sunday, folks, as if the bad weather hasn't been enough. The Western Cape government said it was approached the National Disaster Risk Management Center for Provincial Disaster Classification as the province continued to be lashed by turbulent weather. Things are not looking pretty in the Western Cape when it comes to weather. Power outages burst riverbanks across Western Cape as the storm surges dumped significant rain and filled the dams. Oof. Well, South Africa's water crisis, which we discussed in the last hour, the new minister responsible for water in South Africa is turning to the private sector for solutions. At least somebody in the ANC is looking somewhere other than at their navel trying to find solutions. So we'll wish her good luck. South Africa water crisis. New Minister Phemi Majodina looks to the private sector to fix crumbling infrastructure. The Department of Water and Sanitation's medium-term expenditure framework is 134 billion rand, but the need is 90 billion rand per year. And over the next decade, that means it'll be a nearly 1 trillion rand deficit in spending for water infrastructure in South Africa. This is horrific. Well, more lists are coming, folks. Minister of Sports, Arts, and Culture in South Africa, none other than the leader of the Patriotic Alliance, one Gate McKenzie. More lists are coming. Hey, Kifnis, are you on these lists too? Did you not get any money? Did it only go to black artists, Kifnis? No, whitey's got the money. Isn't that what you said? More lists are coming. Gate McKenzie still on the hunt for irregularities in COVID patients. This story by Michael Sherman in the IOL. Sports Minister Gate McKenzie said yesterday that he would continue his campaign to find out which payments were made incorrectly from the list of Rona beneficiaries by the Department of Sports, Arts, and Culture. He's under fire for releasing a list of 3,962 people who got taxpayer money to survive the Rona shutdown. Where is the dignity? I'm telling people I got money from the government. It's not fair. This is terrible. Stop it, man. My mind's going blank. That's right. So I have a question for Joe Biden. When we were kids, our parents told us if we were in the bathroom doing a certain activity, we would go blind. You know, and your mom knocks on the door. What are you doing in there? Going blind! Is that like your mind going blank? The same sort of thing, Joe? I'm just asking. Anyway, where's the dignity? Artists are upset. I'm sure the Kifnis is upset because, boy, he's been put in the hot seat exposed. Sports, Arts, and Culture Minister Gate McKenzie's decision to publish the names of artists and sports professionals who benefited financially from the department's Rona Relief Fund has ruffled some feathers. Department on Wednesday published the names of artists and sports professionals. Media personality and businessman Sizwe Dloma was not impressed by McKenzie's decision, complaining about it. But Sizwe got grilled on social media for his arrogant attitude about his name being published. Now, this coming from the Zulu instructor at Howard University in Washington, D.C., in the Department of African Languages, none other than Dr. Sipho Sithole. Dr. Sipho Sithole said, I would have given the money back. Well, the money's been spent a long time ago. Your fake anger and umbrage over the release, which should be transparent information, is funny. Why are we talking to a South African teaching at Howard University on the U.S. taxpayers' dime out of my pocket, teaching, 3 people Zulu? Yep, I would have returned their money, says Dr. Sipho Sithole. He said, Gate McKenzie is excitable and is shaming artists. Cultural expert? When did he become a cultural expert? The guy teaches Zulu. That makes him a cultural expert. If you look at his LinkedIn profile, everything says he's a strategic planner. That doesn't make him a cultural expert. Now, maybe he is a cultural expert. In an interview with Newsroom Africa on just today, he said that he would dump the money. He would give it back. Firstly, if I were them, I would go and get all that money in cash, put it in a wheelbarrow, pull the wheelbarrow down to Madiba Street in Pretoria. You'd never get that far. You'd be mugged, you genius. And just put the money there on the doorsteps and say, take it. You've insulted us enough. So you think it's okay to take money from people, but you don't want people to know that you're getting the money. Well, that's dishonest, Sipho. So did you get money? No, I don't know why he would have got money. He's not really qualified for it. Well, the business lobby in South Africa and the South African Chamber of Commerce in the U.S. very concerned over the passage of a piece of legislation that forces the U.S. government to take a look at South Africa's relationship and how it keeps insulting us and harming our national security interests. It's not going to pass because the Senate has to sign, has to approve it, and then Biden has to sign it. Somebody has to hand him a pen, tell him he's getting free ice cream if he signs it. South African Chamber of Commerce says it's worried by a U.S. House vote for full review of bilateral ties. Now, the thing is, when this first came up in February, it's all Republicans, but not this time. That thing passed with a vote of 272 to 144 idiots opposed to it. One Republican, I hope it loses office, and 143 Democrats, I hope all lose office, voted against reviewing U.S. relations with South Africa and our assistance. 61 Democrats voted for this. So, it's not just Republicans. It is an election year, though. South Africans, bad news for you. My sadness goes out to you. My heart goes to you as Ireland has suspended your visa-free access to the Republic of Ireland. South African Botswana nationals are required to obtain a visa before traveling to Ireland, effective Wednesday this week. A transit visa will be required if intending to transit through Ireland en route to another destination. It's a carefully considered decision which will bring Ireland into closer alignment with the Schengen area in respect to both countries, in line with the UK's respect of South Africa. Yeah. CyberEgg says, watch an interview with Ian Cameron. Well, okay, I'm starting to take offense. Ian Cameron promised me an interview 4 times. I knew he was busy, but now I'm just not getting the interview. What's going on there? Interesting. Well, labor unions are upset that the city of Cape Town is exposing those who have been fired for corruption, theft, and drunkenness on the job. Why do you want people who are harming the taxpayer and the community not to be named? In a letter which News 24 has seen, and Mondazzo said this was in the spirit of the city's values and openness and accountability, we will publishing information related to the dismissals of all staff who've been dismissed on a monthly basis. The reason for this is important. The staff members who are employed by the city can be made aware of the consequences of engaging in certain behaviors or taking certain undesirable actions. 113 staff members have been fired between January and June. The reasons they were fired were related to misconduct, gross negligence, assault, sexual harassment, fraud, gross insubordination, misuse of council property, theft, fraud, and dishonesty. And unions don't want you to know who these people are. Typical unions, they love crime and corruption. They want to cover it up every opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, some people making a lot of noise about Julius Malema's 27,000 Rand shoes. Frankly, I don't care. If people are stupid enough to fund the EFF and fund the VBS so that Julius Malema can be accused of stealing from VBS so he can buy these 28,000 Rand hideous-looking shoes. Yes, EFF leader Julius Malema unfazed by criticism for wearing expensive shoes to the Durban July horse racing event. He took to social media to share photos of himself and his wife, Montoa, looking glamorous as they prepared to indulge in the extravagant festivities of the event. Malema's Corteo on spikes, Oxford shoes by Christian Louboutin, seemed to take all the spotlight. 35mm heels, because the little runt needs to be taller, adorned with iconic Maison Christian Louboutin spikes, along with the signature Louis red lining and soles, sparked a frenzy of comments and criticism. Some people believe this lavish footwear seemed to contradict the image portrayed by the EF as the champion of the working class. He's not the champion of the working class. He's a fraud. But, of course, some people loved it. Even if Julius wears $1 million worth of clothes, we still love and support him, says Simply Extraordinary. And Unati Plati says, just because Juju can buy expensive things does not mean his efforts to fix the problems of poverty and unfairness are not valid. Well, his failure to fix any problems means they're invalid. The man's been in Parliament for over a decade, and what has he accomplished? At some point, someone needs to ask the question, what has Julius Malema accomplished in 10 years in Parliament? Is there legislation with his name on it? Has anyone had poverty relieved? Jobs created? Nothing. Of course, the shoes weren't made in Africa. That's another thing. He's a Pan-Africanist, and he buys his shoes from Christian Louboutin. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we bring you all the criminals, black, white, or brown. Doesn't matter. So the 2 gentlemen in the community policing forum who were gunned down, one murdered, the other critically wounded, shot in the head by a motorcyclist. Here's the suspect. Now, I saw the photograph of the gentleman on the motorcycle. Now, I'm not looking at this from a forensics expert standpoint, but I'm just looking at the gentleman standing in the dock here, and I'm looking at the person sitting on the motorcycle who the police told us was the person who committed the shooting. And you go look at the photo, look it up online, and see if this gentleman could possibly be the person on the scooter. I need to go back and take a look at that photo again because I remember a relatively slender person, and this dude is huge. Check it out. No bail for alleged CPF killer demands Heidelberg community. There he is. Look at him. Looking rather robust and obese. This Jean-Lee Pine, a white gentleman by all accounts. He's accused of the fatal attack on the Heidelberg Community Policing Forum members. He has a history of violence. He faces charge of murder and attempted murder. And maybe he very well did it, but the photograph they showed us don't look like this guy. He was arrested Monday, several days after the brazen attack on the chairperson of the Heidelberg Community Policing Forum. Wow. During his appearance on Wednesday, a small group of protesters gathered outside the court carrying placards that read, "No bail, keep us safe." So, charge of murder and attempted murder. So, you be the judge. Is that the guy? Gate McKenzie is not happy about the fact that SABC is not broadcasting Springboks games, denying it to the average South African, only those who can afford SuperSport or who take the time to listen to my broadcast on Rugby Ascendant tomorrow. So, he's mad about the blackout. He says, share the Springbok joy. Newly appointed Sports, Arts, and Culture Minister Gate McKenzie has said that South Africa can't claim to be a pro-poor country if Springbok test matches were not televised. He took to social media saying, I enjoyed yesterday's game, but I felt anger, disappointment, sadness that so many South Africans could not watch it. We need them to share the Springbok joy. We'll check it out. Isn't that cool? Gayton, good job. So John Steenhuisen's appointment as agricultural minister has got some people's panties in a bunch, and no evidence of why this is the case. Just a story here in the Daily Maverick by Ivor Price, saying that it's being closely watched by black farmers. His appointment came as a big surprise. An exclusive interview with Food from Mzansi, a website that I've followed in the past, hours after his appointment. He pledged to work diligently to ensure that the strides made in the agricultural sector towards inclusivity and empowerment of black farmers would not only be maintained, but accelerate under his leadership. So the Daily Maverick is focused on the fact that John Steenhuisen is white, and that's the most important thing to them. Well, that's not the most important thing about John Steenhuisen as the agriculture minister. Poland, turning our attention to Europe, must prepare for full-scale conflict, says the army chief. Wow, these people are just marching towards global conflict. No matter what we say and do, they're going to drag us into a war. Poland needs to prepare its soldiers for an all-out conflict, its armed forces chief said on Wednesday as the country boosts the number of troops on its border, raising tensions with Russia and Belarus. Poland's relations with Russia and its ally have deteriorated since Moscow sent tens of thousands of troops into Ukraine back in 2022. Today, we need to prepare our forces for full-scale conflict, not an asymmetric type conflict, said General Wisław Kukula. This forces us to find a good balance between the border mission and maintain the intensity of training in the army. So the number of troops guarding Poland's eastern border will increase to 8,000 from the current 6,000, and with an additional 9,000 ready to be there within 48 hours. He called this the East Shield, a $2.5 billion U.S. program to beef up defenses along its border with Belarus and Russia. Wow. Well, now Poland is fanning the flames of conflict. It's not just Joe Biden, Jens Stoltenberg, Mark Rutte, Vladimir Putin, Volodymyr Zelensky, the Finnish prime minister. It's now also this clown. Wow. Be sure to hit the like button, folks, if you don't mind. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries met with Joe Biden. Yep, meeting Thursday night between New York Congressman and Biden came on the heels of a rare news conference by the president. The so-called leader of the House Democratic Caucus said Friday that he met with Joe Biden to share opinions from his caucus about the path forward. The meeting Thursday night between Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and Biden came on the heels of a rare news conference by the president. Jeffries said he intended to poll every member of the caucus about their feelings on keeping Biden as the party's nominee. Well, that's none of your damn business. You shitheads in the House of Representatives don't get to decide who our candidates for president are. So sit down, shut up, Hakeem Jeffries. This is the problem. You asswipes think that you run this country, and you do run it into the ground. We vote for our president. This isn't a parliamentary system like South Africa, the United Kingdom, or Germany, where you little shitheads in Congress get to decide who our president is. We decide. So sit down, shut your mouth, be silent, and just shut up, Hakeem Jeffries. We decide, not you. And I think Joe Biden should stay on the ballot so he can be slaughtered in November. Well, donors are holding back money to Creepy Joe Biden now. Yeah, the decision to withhold $90 million is one of the most concrete examples of the fallout from his pathetic so-called debate performance. Some major Democratic donors have told the largest pro-Biden super PAC, Future Forward, that pledges $90 million worth of money, are on hold if he remains at the top of the ticket. The frozen contributions include multiple eight-figure commitments, according to two people who spoke on condition of anonymity. Cowards. Well, ladies and gentlemen, President Joe Biden speaking. Let's listen now to what Joe Biden had to say about what's going on in Ukraine. This is President Joe Biden It's about a minute, so 45 seconds. Please listen in.
I commend all the nations that stepped up when it counted to stand with Ukraine. I've said before, Russia will not prevail in this war. Ukraine will prevail in this war, and we'll stand with them every single step of the way. That's what the compact says, loudly and clearly. And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
President Putin?
President Putin. We're going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky.
President
If
Zelensky.
I'm beating Putin, we got to worry about it. Anyway, Mr. President.
I'm better.
President Putin of Ukraine. And then he corrected himself, President Alinsky. Dude, President Saul Alinsky is some lunatic that's been dead for years that convinced the Wellesley student Hillary Clinton that was the right way to run America. Saul Alinsky's dead, buddy. Saul Alinsky's not the president of Ukraine, and neither is Vladimir Putin. Ladies and gentlemen, the president of Ukraine, Vladimir Putin. What the hell? What the hell? Seriously?
My mind's going blank now. What's happening? I can't.
What the hell? Mind's going blank is right. What a wackadoodle. American Telephone and Telegraph, better known as AT&T, is the latest, I don't want to say victim, the latest corporate failure to protect consumer data. And here we go again with another breach of our personal data. A hacker stole cell text data on nearly every one of their wireless customers. We're talking, last time I checked, they had over 100 million customers. Let's see what they say. A hacker downloaded call and text message information covering almost all of its wireless subscribers in the latest of a string of customer data leaks tied to database provider used by some of the world's top companies. Wow. The data from the 2022 was downloaded in April, but it hadn't found evidence the information was shared publicly. 90 million cell phone subscribers. Well, I'm not an AT&T customer, so at least I didn't get my confidentiality breached by that. It's about time these clowns start protecting our data, but they won't. They won't, because there's too much money to be made. Radine, will Ronaldo ever return to YouTube? I talk about this all the time. Why do people keep asking this question? Ronaldo is in a legal fight. When you're in court, you don't go out and go on social media and make public statements. It's not wise. You're under scrutiny. People are looking for you to make a statement so they can contort it, mislead, and use it as evidence against you. So Ronaldo is not online for that reason. This court case will eventually be resolved, hopefully in his favor, based on the information we're aware of, and he'll be back. He's not silent by choice, but silent by good judgment. So the IRS gave non-U.S. government employees, contractors, access to every American's tax return. And that's how this scumbag publicly released Donald Trump's tax records. This is a government out of control, a government that demands that we use digital IDs, a government that wants us to put everything under their control, but they can't even protect the most basic of information. How the IRS let Trump's tax returns be stolen. There's nothing to prevent me from accessing returns of any Americans, said the criminal. Charles Littlejohn, the scumbag IRS contractor who stole the tax returns of then President Donald Trump and 7,500 of the country's other richest taxpayers, said the agency's systems were so easy to penetrate that he could have stolen any return he wanted. And that's just what he did. In newly unsealed deposition in the civil lawsuit against the IRS, Littlejohn revealed how he managed the worst IRS breach in history, exfiltrating the secret tax data and giving it to reporters who published it for the world to see. There was nothing to prevent me from accessing returns of any American. For starters, even though he was a consultant for Booz Allen and not an IRS employee, the agency gave him an office, an email account, and a laptop. They figured he'd need that to run the type of reports the contract called for, but it gave him the access that he wanted. He felt that searching for Trump's name might raise alarms, so he circled in on the data by running general queries based on what he guessed Mr. Trump's taxes would include. Then he compared the resulting data to hits previously leaked information about Trump to figure out which information belonged to the president. Getting the data out of the IRS was a bigger hurdle. He said it was general knowledge the IRS blocked downloads from major websites like Dropbox, but he guessed the agency wouldn't be able to ban random sites. He tested the idea on a website he controlled, and sure enough, it worked. He downloaded the data onto flash drives, used a burner phone to contact the New York Times, and gave them the data for a story they ran just ahead of the 2020 election. Littlejohn repeated the process for 7,500 of the country's wealthiest people, giving the data to ProPublica. I was able to access tax returns at will, he said in a March 19th deposition just weeks before he reported to federal prison to serve a 5-year sentence for his crime. 5 years? How about the rest of his freaking life? How about the rest of his life in prison? Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, in the Communist Republic of California, if you report a crime to the police, you will be facing fines for harassing the police. I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable. Can you believe this? Sacramento City Attorney's Office warned Target shopping store that it could face fines for retail theft calls. The Sacramento City Attorney's Office warned a retail chain store that it could face a public nuisance charge due to the large number of phone calls placed to police when thieves repeatedly stole from its Land Park location. A person with knowledge of the warning but not authorized to speak publicly due to fear of retaliation told the Sacramento Bee that city officials threatened the Target at 2505 Riverside Boulevard in the past year with administrative fine. A Sacramento police spokesperson confirmed the location, a site that prompted heavy ire from the Land Park residents due to repeated crimes when asked about the warning. The alleged warning issued by Sacramento city officials and similar actions by other cities across the state prompted lawmakers to add an amendment to retail theft bill that would outlaw such threats made by authorities. Wow. I was surprised that anyone would ever attempt to make a nuisance case out of somebody calling to report a legitimate crime, said Alexander Gamelgard, president of the California Police Chiefs Association. I don't think it's a place for that. Yeah. Wow. Unbelievable. The crime hitting the Target at Riverside and Broadway has drawn criticism from the Neighborhood Association. It's unbelievable, folks. Target locations within the city of Sacramento had a total of 375 calls for service related to theft, robbery, and shoplifting in 2023, up from 175 in 2022 and just 87 in 2021. Police took about 80 crime reports related to theft, and they made 55 arrests. But the stores were warned that if they called the police to help them, they would face a fine for nuisance. A nuisance in reporting a crime. What the hell is wrong with these people? This is insanity of the highest order. How can you be charged with nuisance calling when you're reporting criminal activity? Is it not the role of law enforcement to stop, to deter crime, to arrest criminals, to send the suspected criminals to the attorney to be prosecuted for their crimes? Are we just supposed to be victims? California's already made retail outlets victims by not charging crimes for people who don't steal $1,000 worth of goods. This is beyond insane. These people need to be tarred and feathered. Not going to say who. Wow. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Well, folks, unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap up here shortly. No, CyberAgs, there are no people who actually think Joe Biden's okay. They're all liars. They know he's gone. They know he's gone. Most of the online community still in denial. EFF supporters saw the reports of a business card. It must be like EFF witnesses, person to person, asking if they've heard the news. Until when can Biden withdraw? Well, he can withdraw at any time, Mealy Meal, or Mealy Maid, excuse me. He can withdraw anytime he wants. The problem for the Democrats is that if he withdraws from the race before he is the nominee for the party at their convention, then they can't transfer the $100 million war chest that they currently have available for his campaign. That money is gone. Only Joe Biden can spend it. If he becomes a nominee, then he can transfer the money to another candidate. So he has to stay in the race until September. So good luck with that one. Azrael says, did you pick up on Trump's 20 objectives published? No, I haven't seen that. Been busy. Poland and the Czech Republic are desperate to go in against the Russians. Well, they hate them. But we shouldn't have a global conflict because they hate Russia. Gary Greenhouse going. Sandy Hunt says, what's the chance that VBS Bank paid for those shoes? Yeah, well, it's a good chance. Yep, I think there's a good chance there. What else? All right, I think I've caught up on the chat there. So sorry that I have to go early, folks. Also sorry for the 30-second delay, which has made the chat a little more awkward instead of a 3-second delay here. Well, thank you so much. Jill Biden won't let him go. She has to protect her nest egg. Yep, exactly. President Jill Biden. Anyway, folks, that's going to wrap it up. I got 10 minutes before the Pumas-Lions game starts. I got to get ready for that. So thanks a lot for being here. Be sure to hit the like button. Also, if you enjoy rugby, you can catch me later today broadcasting Scotland visiting USA in Washington, D.C. I'll be covering that game as well tonight. Tomorrow, I'll be covering whatever game is on early in Currie Cup. I don't know if it's Province, but there's a game on early. And then I will also be covering Springboks. So tune in for that on Rugby Senate. Just hearing your rant about California, my Afrikaans wife said Trump should pick you to be his new attorney general. I think she's right. Well, Tommy, je suis d'accord. Ich stimme zu. Yeah, there it is in French and German. I agree. You can make me the attorney general because I will follow the rule of law. Not Jeff Sessions, the gas bag that was ashamed to be the attorney general or his successor. Two failed Trump picks that undermine his presidency. All right, that's it. Be safe out there. It's a lekker Freitag. Have a lovely day, folks. I'd love to play Giselle on the way out, but I don't have time. So thanks a lot. Shop. Take care of yourselves. And hopefully we'll see you on Rugby Senate here shortly. Have a good night. If not, we'll catch you tomorrow here when I get around to the news. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.